Potential Week, Batrep!
Hey everybody, during Dark Potential Week and until the end of March 2013, we're offering special Dark Potential Army deals, where you can get an entire Dark Potential starter army for around $100. It'll save you over 30% off the normal cost, and you get free shipping worldwide. Go to darkpotential.com/army deals or click on the link below for more details. Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and this is going to be a Dark Potential battle report. Dave here is playing his very first game of Dark Potential, so we're going to try to get a couple games in today. This first one is just going to be starter set versus starter set, and corporation versus petrov-morales corporation. No, just kidding. It's corporation. There is PMC versus PMC, corporation versus corporation, petrov-morales corporation versus petrov-morales corporation. All of those are acceptable official ways of calling the army, just so you know what we like to call them. I like PMC, that's my favorite.
Yeah?
Although I tend to say corporation.
I like corporation and POTS division in this case. I like to differentiate myself by considering myself a different division within the corporation.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So we're going to do scenario number 1, which is basically kill each other, because with the starter set, it's hard to really go for objectives when you have so few models. But hopefully this will be quick. But at the same time, we're going to be, in this game in particular, I'm going to test to see if we've managed to make the rules forgivable if your terrain isn't all these buildings. And you'll see what I mean by that once you see the actual setup. So let's take a look at the armies as well as the table. Since both sides are going to be playing exactly the same Petrov-Morales Corporation army, I'll just show you at once. It's basically just the starter set. We've got the commander, no upgrades, so he's just got his laser rifle and that's it. We've got a heavy weapon specialist with the flame launcher, and we've got the sniper. So there's not going to be any... Oh wait, no, we are upgrading everything with smoke grenades. I do remember that now. I apologize. And we have a squad of recruits, just a squad of 4. So there are smoke grenades, because he did want to try those out right away. We decided to really put the new fog of war and range limitation rules to the test by having the terrain be a lot more open. Now, there's still a lot of terrain, but there's a lot of line of sight across the board. And we found that in the earlier editions of the beta rules that if you could see your opponent from across the table, then it was a big problem, because whoever got to fire first was able to basically destroy the opponent. But now we've really limited the ranges, so it's a lot harder to shoot at a distance. And also with the new Fog of War rules, where the first turn you're basically really limited in how far you can shoot, that should hopefully eliminate that. So we're going to find out. So it's a very basic scenario. It's just whoever can wipe out the opponent first is the winner. And so we rolled off, and I managed to get first turn. And so my sniper is going to move up, which means he can't fire his sniper rifle because it's a move or shoot weapon. And he just gets in a position. Now, I'm limited in my range anyways, because in the first turn with Fog of War, you can't see very far. And so I'm just moving everybody up to get in a position. Now, when you have first turn with the Fog of War rules, you have an advantage of being able to just kind of run up and grab the positions that you want. But the second player has the advantage in being able to move up and go on Overwatch, because then during your second turn, that range limitation expires, which means the Overwatch can activate on your army. So he can basically just point in your general direction, go on Overwatch, and then as soon as second turn starts, he already has you in his sights. And so you have to start using tactical maneuvers or just order of activation to really eat those shots. So it's an interesting dynamic there that I'm not sure whether it's the most advantageous to go first or second yet. So you can see he's just moving his guys up and going on Overwatch because it's his best option. It's almost something that I think will happen in most turn 2 or player 2 turn 1 turns. It's a lot of turns there. And then he's just running his recruits up as far as they can go to get into a better position. And so it really just boils down to that. My guys got to run up and grab some good positions. So if we were going for objectives, for example, I'd have the advantage of being able to get closer to the objectives. So end of round 1, rarely in round 1 are you going to see any shooting. It's only if the first player moves up far enough that the second player can move up and take a shot. But it's going to be more about getting into your positions, which, you know, most games are like that anyways. War Machine, when you play that, first turn you spend a lot of time getting in position. 40k in Fantasy, you can do a bit more shooting, but even then, most games that I've played, the first turn is about positioning. So second turn, I move up with my initiates. I did not order a tactical maneuver, which means he can interrupt this. I think he chooses not to. Oh wait, no, here he goes. He now is going to interrupt it with his Overwatch. He needs an 8 or less, and he gets an 8, exactly. And so that's going to be a single hit up strength -1. So he needs a 4 or less, and he rolls a 5, but then he can use a command point to modify that 5 down to a 4. And so he gets 1 kill on the initiates, which means they have to take a morale test, -2, because of 1 for the loss of a guy, and 1 because the weapon itself is demoralizing. They get to use the commander's morale of 9, so they have to roll 7 or less, which they make no problem. Which is good because their activation would have immediately ended if they failed. Then they're taking their shots at his initiates, and they needed a 7 or less, and they get 1 hit, and they're going to use a command point to reduce that down to 5, so they manage to get 2 hits. And they have to get 2 or less to wound, and they have 2 hits, so they roll 2 dice. I'm going to use a command point to re-roll the 6, and I do manage to get a 2, which means one of the initiates does die, and it'll be the one that's closest. And so these guys have to take a morale check -1. Their commander is nearby, so they're going to use his morale of 9, and they make it no problem. And then the other one who did not participate in the firing drops a smoke grenade to try to block line of sight to the other guys who are on Overwatch. So it's all order of activation when it's the second turn to make sure that you don't activate his Overwatch too often. And then the flame launcher, I'm going to re-roll that because my hand hit it. He misses, but he's going to use a command point to re-roll that. He needs a 5 or less for a hit. Ooh, still misses. But thankfully with the flame launcher template, it is just going to deviate. And does it manage to hit anything? It's deviating 2d6 inches because of the range, and it unfortunately does not hit anything. It's using the War Machine template there because it is similar to what will be created for Dark Potential. The sniper is then going to take a shot at his sniper, who's no longer on Overwatch. I need a 6 or less because it is a very long-range shot, and I do manage to hit it. It's -1 strength because I only barely made it, and I managed to inflict a wound. Now it is D3 wounds, and I roll a 3, and I need to get a 5 to kill him, so I use 2 of my command points to raise that 3 to a 5, which is enough to kill his sniper. So the first major casualty right there as he loses his sniper. So you might think that that's dire, and it is a big deal, but you'll see it go back and forth here. My commander moves up, and I accidentally move into his sight range of his Overwatch, and so he manages to take a shot, and only manages to barely get it, but he does wound, and he does do D3 wounds because he does the sustained beam, and unfortunately only does 1 wound, but he modifies, or he spends a command point to re-roll that and gets the maximum 3 wounds. So my commander takes 3 wounds right there, which is a big deal. So I have to take a morale test, -3 to my 9, so I have to get 6 or less. I do manage to get it, thankfully. Otherwise, that would have been bad news. Then the commander's going to take a shot at the recruits using the regular shot so he can get up to 3 hits, and I do manage to get my maximum 3 hits. And so I'm only rolling 1 die there. Why did I do that? Did I do sustained? Maybe I could only see 1. Anyways, I do manage to kill. Oh no, I see. It's different strengths because some of them are in heavier cover than others. So I've killed 2 so far, and the other one I need a 3 or less to kill. And I managed to kill that one as well. So his entire squad is wiped out, which means the commander has to take a morale check because he was within 6 inches and a line of sight. But it's an easy one at 9 or less. And I don't even think we need to see the second one. And that's it. Going into Dave's turn, he's lost his full initiate squad and his sniper, which seems very dire. But we'll see what happens. So his commander moves up to take a shot at my commander. He could kill him at this point, and he fails it by 1, so he uses a command point to make that a 6, so he hits it at -1 strength. That was a sustained beam, so it's strength 7. He has to get 2 or less, though, because I am in cover. So he's going to re-roll that, and he gets it. Now he does D3 wounds, and I only have 2 wounds left. And so with that, he manages to kill my commander. So you can see that is a serious blow right there, almost a bigger deal than him losing his sniper and his recruits, because I've lost my morale 9, I've lost all those command points. Now these guys have to take a morale check on 6 or less because they don't have a commander nearby anymore. Thankfully they make it though. It's an unusual number of morale checks that we're making in this game. Flame launcher, a heavy weapon specialist with flame launcher moves up, and so you can see now I'm having problems because I've lost my commander. And he takes a shot at these 3 guys who are nicely clumped together. He needs 6 or less to make a direct hit on the guy he's targeting. And he fails it, but he uses a command point to re-roll that shot. And he makes it. And so he gets to put the flame launcher template right there, and it hits all 3 of them. So the first one is going to be the easiest at strength 7, just needs a 5 or a less. And he makes it, so he kills him. And the other ones will be at strength 5, minus their armor, so it'll be 4 or less. And so he kills one, and he fails the other one. He uses a command point, though, to re-roll it, because he really wants to kill all of them, and he does manage to kill them all. So I've lost all my recruits, he's lost all his recruits, he's lost his sniper, but I've lost my commander. So now, technically, he is ahead. So end of round 2, you can see this goes back and forth, and I am liking, even with the open terrain, how this game is working out. So I am liking the new Fog of War and the new range rules. So my sniper is still there, he can take some pot shots, but in the end, over here, he is
vastly outnumbering me with his commander and heavy weapon specialist, and I only have my heavy weapon specialist. So now we go into my turn 3. The sniper is going to move out. He's going to run and try to get into the open, which sounds counterintuitive, but it's so that he might actually be able to shoot at something. And then my heavy flame launcher guy moves over, the heavy weapon specialist, and fires at his heavy weapon specialist, needing a 7 or less to hit. Unfortunately, this is going to be able to only do 1 wound, but it's pretty easy to make the wound because it's such a high strength. So I do knock him down to 2. And he does have to make a morale test of 8 or less. Fails it, but the commander's nearby, and so he's able to use a director's command point to make that an 8. So far, nobody's really failed their morale test, which is unusual. And then it's his turn 3. So you can see the turns are going fast now because there's hardly any models left. So his heavy flame launcher moves over to fire at my heavy weapon specialist, fires at my heavy weapon specialist. He hits me, needs a 5 or less to inflict a wound, and he does so. So I'm down to 2 wounds, and I have to make a morale test, but the problem is I don't have a commander nearby to help me with that. So I have to roll 5 or less. My morale is 6 minus the 1 wound I took. And I do fail that, but I do have 1 command point. So here we go. Can I get a 5 or less? 5 or a less? That doesn't make any sense. 5 or less, and I do. So once again, no morale checks have been failed, which I will once again say is unusual. But then his director moves out, takes aim and fires, needs an 8 or less, which is pretty easy to hit, and does hit. Now he needs a 5 or less because he did do the sustained beam, which makes it nice high strength and D3 wounds. Only does 1 wound, but he does have a command point to make that a 3, which means it'll do 2 wounds because it's D3, and that kills my heavy weapon specialist, leaving only my sniper, who thankfully will have a target. But then after that, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. So this is a very close game, although clearly Dave's PMC are in the lead. So you can see right here, looking from the point of view of my sniper, this awesome camera angle, I can see his heavy weapon specialist. I do need an 8 or less, which is not too bad, especially since I have 2 command points to do a reroll there. And I do manage a hit, and because of his special rule, he gets extra strength when he makes his hit by more than what he needs, and so he fails to wound though. He needed a 5 or less, and he rolled a 6, so he uses a command point to make that a 5. It needs D3, and I roll a 1, so I do not kill his heavy weapon specialist. And so the sniper promptly runs away, and I give up because it was impossible at that point because he could just run around and avoid my sniper.
So I hope that you enjoyed that game. Just starter sets for starter sets, but the corporation managed to win.
Contract is ours.
Yes, the contract is yours. And so it shows you just how it looked like at first. Did you think that you were going to lose at that one round?
When I lost all my little recruits there, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm getting devastated quickly. But with the multi-wound director, you're able to really stay in the game even at that point.
Yeah. And I knew that when I was playing. I killed these 2, and I was thinking, he's probably thinking that he's losing right now. But I didn't kill the important thing, which was the director. I did get the sniper, which is a big deal. But the sniper in a small game isn't as powerful. You might think that it is, but as we found out, he's easy to outmaneuver because he can't move and fire.
I just moved my director back a couple feet. I knew you'd have to move, and
then you just keep doing that. I could try Overwatch, but you're going to be able to outmaneuver him. Whereas in a larger game, there's so many more targets that he'll usually be able to shoot at something, or at least get in a good position to cover an area. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that. We're going to play another game right now, so you'll see that as well this week. So stay tuned for more Dark Potential battle reports. And don't forget to go check out more information on Dark Potential at darkpotential.com. Happy wargaming.